All right, great footballing action there, and we'll have more analysis for you in the next hour with our sports team and what's been happening in the World Cup and what it portends in coming days. But it's time for Person of Interest. As we told you earlier, Reverend Timonthy Njoya is with me in studio, and it's great to have you, sir. Karibu sana.
Good morning, viewers.
Yes, and remember, keep your comments coming through or your questions for Reverend. Quite a number of tweets already have come in with questions. We'll also open our phone lines for you. The numbers will be scrolling on your screen. You can engage with us as we talk to the Reverend here. So let's begin with, and we'll talk a lot about what's been happening. Of course, tragic, what we are seeing, you know, with the story that broke on Sunday night. Developing to yesterday morning, and now the developments, what the politicians are saying, and all, we'll get to that. But let's begin with you and your life to the public eye, how you got there. Talk to us about that, Reverend.
I didn't get there. God took me there.
All right.
Yes, I offered myself to become a church minister,
right,
a minister of the gospel, and I've been preaching the gospel in various ways. Sometimes through every instrument available. Yes, especially in like these instruments you have offered for me to communicate the gospel.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, but for many it doesn't end there. We have many pastors, there are many preachers of all kinds, and they will pretty much just go to church and at the end of that go home. For you, you have been in the public eye, you have been involved in matters constitutionalism, you know, matters of just good governance and all. What inspired that as well?
Yes, because the gospel calls me to free captives, preach the good tidings to the poor and to the sick and to others, and to also visit the hungry, the sick and the others. And you need to create, instead of doing it personally, you can create the mechanism and the systems for doing it, and good governance is one of them.
Right.
And I think that when we talk about God's kingdom on earth, we mean that there should be, we should not personalize always the way we do the ministry. We should also institutionalize it and also make it everybody's responsibility. And that's how I thought the best way is to transform Kenya from a market into a society, because the market is there for loss and profit, for self-interest. But when you transform Kenya into a nation, the nation is where everybody has obligation to take care of everybody and be taken care of.
Right.
And therefore, I thought it's good to transform Kenya because it was started in 1888 as a British overseas market, and it has never changed ever since. So I thought the best way is to have a new constitution, have pluralism, participatory democracy, so that all Kenyans have a role to play in taking care of each other.
Right.
The tax system was not the only way to distribute resources and share resources. Mothers do share food with everybody, and also fathers. Some fathers do also. So we do distribute and share resources and energies.
Yes. And
also interact in many, many ways in Kenya. And that's where the direction to where we should be going from the market.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk to us about what happened, you know, Sunday night, normal evening for most families in Peketoni, Lamu County, and then in just minutes and seconds, everything changes. It's an orgy of violence, terror is rained upon the residents there, and not for half an hour, for hours, and now death toll probably even above 50 as we speak. And looking at also the reaction from the government and the agencies, you know, that have been given the responsibility to take care of Kenya's security as well. What is your take?
You know, having heard that from the media since last night, I do think that Kenyans need to be intellectually ahead of what happened at Peketoni, because when we are there, then we are the Al-Shabaab is in the lead.
Right.
When we begin in the Brem games, we translate combat. Al-Shabaab came and combated. When we translated that into their own war propaganda, the propaganda through the opposition and government, shouting and telling each other off, Brem game, I think neither the opposition or the government should engage in a blame game, because they are offering the Al-Shabaab a forum to win the propaganda war. Because when terrorism is about mesmerizing a country and the people.
Right.
And when I'm thinking the Shabab is celebrating to see Olelenko or Tagura shouting at each other. I think the only person who came with the sanity was Raila. He came and condemned the action. All the others began a shouting match. And that means that when you have those people, I think who are intellectually challenged, I think, or lack of, I say they lack the weight, what it takes to go ahead of, to go ahead of a storm.
Yes.
And I think every good captain does not dwell on the storm. He looks forward and overrides it. And I think what we are really seeing in Kenya is politicians who should be very educated. And I don't know what went wrong with our education. Not looking ahead. I think one of our missionaries called Marion Stevenson wrote a Kikuyu book which says that a good reader or educated person does not look at the letters you are reading. He looks to the next letter so that to read the next. The same, you don't look at the step you are stepping.
You look at the next. You
look at the ground ahead. And when you have people in Kenya starting to win war propaganda for Al-Shabaab, then Al-Shabaab will repeat it so that it can demoralize people. I saw people there shouting at each other, politicians saying this is blame game. And I think also Uhuru should be ahead of this. He should ahead of the Al-Shabaab and the opposition and his politicians. He should be ahead of Orenko by setting up a communication desk. Set up a forum of sharing information with the opposition and with the parliament, so that when they speak with one voice. I would like to see tomorrow, if anything happens, even this Mpaketon before it ends, I would like to see opposition and the government unite to speak and address a national issue with a national voice, rather than with each trying to get mileage or gain in war propaganda. This is not our war. It's Al-Shabaab versus Kenya. It is not Kenyans versus Kenyans. And when you have the intellectual aptitude of our readers coming so low and being lower than that of the Al-Shabaab, then you wonder what is that went wrong with our education.
Yes. You have the Al-Shabaab claiming responsibility, but also the government coming out to say they're not ruling out any political,
That's what I'm calling shouting match.
The shouting match, yes. But when you see, this has been going on for a while now, since the return of the former Prime Minister, the political, temperature, has really risen since then. A lot of reinvigoration forward, and Jubilee seems to just be fighting back.
Of course, developing and growing on the weakness of your own brother and sister is not real development.
Right. Development
is offering the alternatives. You see, the toddlerness, it's like the infant. The government is an infant, it's only 1 year. It could not have done 10 years or 5 years in 1 year, and therefore there is an opportunity to capitalize on that weakness.
Yes.
And I think that's not a gain. A gain is offering the way forward. Like during Kanu, I offered the way forward. On October 5, 1987, I said, let's have a new constitution.
Yes.
Let's have multi-party. I did not criticize the one party, because and neither say the one party is evil. It has dissidents, it has people in jail, it has all that. That was factual. Everybody knew it. You don't need to repeat and condemn the one party. All you need is to offer the people the alternative. And I didn't have to be there to implement the multi-party. People did it. I'm not a politician to implement.
Yes.
I have always said things in this society in which I have no capacity to implement or do. But it's to offer people alternative prophetic voice. And that's what the prophets did in the Old Testament. You offer an alternative an option and choices other than the ones available in the market.
Yeah.
So when you have the opposition only reacting to what is weak in Kenya or not strong in there, that is like you are not really putting your best foot forward.
Yes.
Yeah, you are putting your worst foot backward. So I do think that we need to do like America. I'm not an American and I don't like to belittle Kenya. Obama, when there was this Boston thing or something, he calls the opposition, he calls the Congress, and he informs them and briefs them what is happening so that America speaks with one voice. And I think that Uhuru needs to have a desk where he confers and confides with his vice president and with the leader of the opposition what is happening and what is going to be the next action for the government to do.
Yeah. And Kenya has been grappling with this runaway insecurity for a while now. You look at Westgate, there's been quite a number of attacks elsewhere, and now this one. And you're hearing now the former Prime Minister and Court calling for Lelenku, there to be some removal of him or a censure motion. We've had some members of parliament talking about that. For security, in your opinion, what is it that you feel? The
problem with that kind of approach is that, Kenyans don't represent simply the party or the government. They represent identities. They represent the communities. I know my friend Mother Karoa, when she resigned from the Ministry of Justice. Oh, she lost a lot because the people of Dia thought they had lost a position, and the people of Central Province thought they had lost a position. So when you are telling Lelenko is, I don't want to be caught saying his name betrayed him because somebody said it. But when you tell Lelenko to, or anybody or any one so and so, people know that this is a tip of an iceberg. He represents particular important and significant interests in this country,
but when people feel
and you should be sensitive to them.
Okay, that is from a political approach in terms of he's there representing at a particular quarter. But what about service and delivering on his mandate? Because that has come under focus. Confidence has been lost by majority of Kenyans in as far as those that have been given responsibility, to be in charge of Kenya's security. Over and over again, he appears in front of the cameras and the statements most of the time contradicting or at least not even giving much information.
I ask you, what went wrong with the Kenya education? We were educated for the job market to get jobs. You had no calling. When you are in something that you've been appointed and to fulfill or fill a certain vacuum or position.
Yes.
The selection isn't that the best that you can have.
Right.
So I think that's why I said there should be consultation. And I think that even in a country like Kenya, when you appoint a person like that, you should not only simply consult a party. Because there is a great mistake with you members of the press. You say this is a Jubilee government. That is the worst nonsense and the lack of intellect among the media people, because we have a government of Kenya. We have the government of Iran, the government of Great Britain, or the British Empire. We don't say the empire of the Tuareg or the liberals. Or you don't say America is a Republican.
It's the Kenyan government that is being made up by the Jubilee coalition.
Is responsible. And the government of Kenya pays opposition to become opposition. They are paid money. There is a need of opposition in parliament. So a opposition is a regularized, institutionalized organ of our Kenya government. And therefore, when I say that when the opposition talks against the government, you talk about the government not against Jubilee government, because that is the government of everybody in Kenya. All parties are representing that government, trade unions, people, sectors. And you cannot call the government a party government.
But back to the security question, Reverend, because right now that's the biggest concern that Kenyans have. And when I especially look at the intelligence, just the other day the British...
Which intelligence?
The intelligence of Kenya, the NIS, and the intelligence that is perceived perhaps sometimes...
It's a wrong name.
Why is it wrong?
It is the wrong name because You are, what does intelligence mean? Ability to predict.
Exactly,
and
which
to foresee.
Kenyans feel that has been lacking.
At you see, in most dolphins, animals like dolphins and bugs have the capacity of IQ to predict the consequences of the action and to foresee actions. But they don't only wait for actions to take place.
Yes.
When a country has intelligence, it should have been able to foresee, to predict, and to forestall. But now you are calling intelligence the opposite. Their reaction, the simple people who come and ask, who hate me? And I don't think that you have intelligence in Kenya. You still have, even the military has intelligence to tell the military before they are attacked how to defend and how to counterattack before they attack, to preempt the question of the enemy. What action have we preempted in Kenya in order to say that we are intelligent? You see, the intelligence...
Perhaps they don't tell us.
No.
That's the other argument that has always been made.
If they would have told us if they did the briefing the way I said.
Okay.
If they informed, if it were to Raila or somebody, I don't want to mention those who are former CAN with him, but I'm saying if it was like opposition saying, or that we'd been informed that there was this attempt and it was foiled, then I would say that we have
so you feel they need to, when they have wins and they have foiled some
they should brief everybody concerned.
Briefing people.
They should be briefing people.
Okay.
They should be brief even somebody like Timonthy Njoya or Tuga or the leaders of the Muslim Council to know that their mosque or anything was about to be attacked, because, so that they are alert. Because they are asking everybody, even Uhuru said, it is he lacks sleep, we all lack. You know, why doesn't he inform the people likely to be attacked to be aware? Why doesn't his intelligent machinery inform the churches which have been attacked, be alert, or inform the Mketoni that it is likely? So that I'm saying that...
So in your opinion, is a complete
there's no need of saying that this is a war for Kenyans, where actually Kenyans are not informed. And information is power. Unless you inform people, let me tell you, you have disarmed them. Inform or disarm. There's no two way.
If you are the president right now, you are sitting and advising him in as far as this security question is concerned, what would you tell him? You
see, the problem is that I have more, I know Kenya much more, longer.
Yes.
I'm older. So I would, there's no corner of Kenya where I have not slept or been in Garissa, Wajir, been everywhere. I've been. So I would know who to inform, and because I'm also informed. Even, you know, I'm not the president, but I'm very, very highly informed. You know.
What advice would you give him?
Yeah?
What advice would you give him in dealing with this security?
The one I give to churches.
Which is
that inform
people
tirelessly, and let them trust your information.
Let it be credible.
Let the information be credible. Okay. And that can only happen if you have good intelligence service. Not in, I don't want to say it is ineptitude rather than blame. You see, you have to have people who have studied strategics, and you have studied very well how to study people and mix with the people, mingle with the people. And we are not going to bar to drink, but to gather information.
Yes.
But when you have intelligent people drunk, then they are going to die of kumi like everybody else.
All right, let's talk about a little bit of what also has been developing in the political front. Raila Odinga returned and has been calling for national dialogue, and the government has said unless it's a cup of tea, there's not going to be any other form of dialogue. And before we go to what they're proposing for the Saba Day, do you support their call for national dialogue? Do you think the government should
nobody in his sanity will not support dialogue. I only said that Uhuru should have had a desk or forum or consultation for informing the people, everybody Kenyan, as to what is happening, so that people don't simply react, grope in the dark. So I don't think that dialogue is done. But the dialogue which is what do you aim dialogue for? You must have stated the outcome. Because people will say the outcome of dialogue today may be maybe because the opposition has stated its agenda. Maybe it's to host AIBC, or it is to regime change, or it is power sharing. You know, I know I did a bit of political science.
Okay.
So I know when you want to dialogue or you want round table conferences, there is an outcome.
Yes.
There is a goal and there is the result.
There's a name, yes.
Yeah, there's a name. And the aim in politics can only be dialogue to achieve what?
Okay.
To achieve maybe peace, to achieve correspondence or resonance or symmetrics. But I mean, there can be dialogue to achieve like a man and a wife.
Right.
To achieve, to stabilize the family.
Yes.
But I'm saying in Kenya, a dialogue ought to be clearly stated so that we know whether it is, if you wanted to achieve, a dialogue to achieve regime change can only repeat the elections. That which is recognized in the Constitution.
Yes.
It can only an election. Dialogue to regime power sharing can only be done if you have a mediator. You see, it's not called and who and a job to sit. There has to be
other parties.
Some kind of other. And again, they need to include all parties, not simply
the politicians.
People.
Okay.
Not only, they need to include what is this party by Mudavadi?
UDF.
Yes.
They
need to include the parties that are not either in opposition or they are not either in government.
Okay.
If they want proper dialogue in Kenya, would have to be very inclusive. It have to include civil society. And I'm civil society.
Yes.
Many other people. We were in this having peace Pamoja conference at Safaricom the other day. I think leaders of the Pamoja conference cannot be avoided.
So there needs to be more
inclusivity. They cannot be avoided in a dialogue.
We'll continue to talk about that proposal for that dialogue. Let's speak to James Gitonga, who's calling us. James, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Thank you for calling. Go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, mine is to talk about peace and security. I think time has come for the Jubilee parliamentarians to tell the king when he's naked, because he's naked right now.
Right.
Yeah, and I say this because look at the people he has in terms of security, Oradenko and Kemayo. Do they inspire confidence even in their own forces? My answer is no. Remember, we had Major Ari. That personality, even when you saw him talking on TV, you could tell the security. We need personalities who represent confidence in people and inspire leadership amongst the ranks they serve. Now, I want to give you instances of where, like, we have very serious lapses. It has taken government, I don't know how many years, to close that airport North Road. You know where it is?
Yes.
In Embakasi. Remember, cars were passing through a flight path where planes are very low. Al-Shabaab could have struck even with a mortar or a rocket-propelled grenade and even bring down the president's plane. We go the Rwandan way. Look at what is happening in Thika Road under these underpasses and these jumps.
Yes.
Does it take even an after school kid can tell you when these Al-Shabaab strike like at Group Cinema or Pangani there underground, even with gas, we have a disaster in waiting on Thika Road.
Okay.
So, secondly, I also want to embark media and those people, because look at what has happened in Ram. Nobody is even trying to set up a fund to help these people. Yet when the rich die in Westgate, we are quick to say, oh, we are one. Why aren't we one now? And people are dying. Their lives have been turned upside down. I think there is hypocrisy on this whole matter. But I want to call on the president. It's time to come out. And I expect him, the next time he talks to Kenya, he should thank people, tell people who can inspire. He can bring back Haji, can prevail on him to step down, or tell Kaisari to step down and come and head that ministry. I think Kenyans are tired, and we want to see people who can inspire the people they read. He also needs to run that ministry the way corporates are run. Cascade down.
Okay.
Can he give targets to the OCPDs, to the OCS? What are they doing? He should not run the ministry on behalf of Rerenku. He appointed him to work. If he can't work,
okay, Gitonga, I must stop you there. Thank you very much. You have made your point, and thank you for watching and for calling. Moses, good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for calling.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, I have to tell the bishop.
The Reverend?
Reverend, that he is on the right track, and we Kenyans somewhere went wrong along the way. People have a lot of respect to the president, but we believe that the people surrounding him are kind of misleading him, because we lost track on intelligence. Actually, I do believe that what he is receiving are just rumors, that he lost track, and intelligence seems not to be doing any work, because as we are talking, the country is divided into two. 5.6 million for the Raina God cannot be taken for granted. And I think it is time that they know that we need to unite, and the only way to unite is by the way the PM, the former PM is saying that we need a dialogue, because Kenya belongs to all of us. And I'm saying that he is working on rumors. If you look, for instance, the case of Embu County, he was misguided, and the war was propelled by few politicians for their self-gain. And as we are talking today, Tehemba has not actually leaped any fruit of devolution, because there has been wars propelled. Now, at the national level, if you look at the way Kanu government was doing its things in terms of intelligence, even the local chairman, the village chairman, Kanu chairman, was known, and his information was normally received by intelligence and acted on. But today, the president cannot even know what is happening, because he has they have kept all those people away, and a new clique of politicians who want to gain have sold him, and so he cannot get the actual information.
Right.
If the intelligence was proper, I believe even the village chairman in that region, which was bombed, would have given his view.
Moses, thank you very much. Your point has been made. We thank you for watching the show and for calling in and you contributing as well. So we have James, Reverend, who called in earlier as well, talking about what is happening and breaking it down as he sees it, and as Moses as well, who's talking about perhaps in the Kanu era we saw the president more in touch in terms of what was happening at the grassroots level.
Of course, you could thank Moi for security, but at a cost to freedom, and Kebake for development, but at a cost to the poor. And now we haven't got the time to assess. But I would like to say that the first speaker,
yes, Gitonga.
Gitonga was providing information, again, not to Kenyans, but to those who would attack Kenya, saying how vulnerable our institutions are. And I think I appreciate his concern that people could, I don't want to repeat what he said could be done to Kenya and where. And I think that is the kind of information which you brought out. It can compromise your own security. You don't open your gates and say this that I must close the gate because I'm protecting money. People will come at night.
Yeah, he wants he's calling for a change in leadership.
No, that's inspiration. I agree. He was calling that we have a change that inspires. But I think if, let's say, Orerenko did not speak, but he let people like Duare and others speak, because to let them speak politics for him. And there are many people in Jubilee who want to speak. And I think you would have done better. Keep quiet, on politics, just and they sometimes have somebody like his deputy to deputize him and talk so that he can answer and clarify matter after they have been talked. But when you have the top guy talking, he has preempted himself. He is going to talk raw material, you know, like the police commissioner used to have a police spokesperson. He didn't always talk. Kemayo talks.
And tweets.
Yeah?
He talks and tweets.
And tweets. It is a poor taste that you don't inspire confidence by reacting directly.
Okay.
These people should be provided with the mechanisms for
communication,
strategies,
clear,
and they should be protected from exposure to making certain mistakes that you make when you react immediately.
But they seem to be not learning, because there have been quite a number of those. But I want to take you back to what you said and you were talking about before we took that call. And you were saying that for there to be dialogue, then there needs to be an end game. There needs to be, this is what I'm hoping to achieve. So are you saying, in your opinion, looking at the calls Court is making, other than the fact that they've said for IEBC, they're very clear, they want the commission reconstituted. Do you feel there is an agenda that's clear? The government, of course, has accused them for wanting to share power. They're now also been accused of wanting to overthrow the government. What do you think is their motive? Do they have the best interest of Kenyans at heart in calling for this dialogue?
I think that's what I would like them to articulate. What is the end game and the rules of engagement? Because when you don't have any rules of engagement, every time for me I want to do something, I have to have some rules of engagement. Basic rules that are not too many, that people can tell. One rule of engagement is that they want to use rallies, but they should also try other channels rather than simple rallies. They should have
because you cannot have a consultative rally. How are you consulting in a rally?
That's what I mean. They have done it.
Yes.
You can't fault them because you don't want to be partisan.
Yes.
You don't want to come here and say, and I'm civil society, I'm church.
Yes.
I don't want to say whether that one rule is sufficient, but I do think they need other rules of engagement to engage the government rather than a threat and through the media. And I think that the government will listen. And if it is an intelligent one, again, you see, you listen. Jesus said, if you have, you know that there's going to be war.
Yes.
You said, and you count your troops. You said somebody.
Yes.
Before to talk to your enemies, so that you can have some kind of dialogue. So what I should think that there should be some strategy in which their rules of engagements are clear. They are not only rallies. The opposition, the government suggested parliament is one of them. And also they said there is a Senate, they are laid down mechanisms. That's only one, it's not many. The government did not preempt, but at least it responded by saying, if you want dialogue, I think it's Ruto, he said, and you know, Ruto has something to lose if a dialogue was to happen. Because dialogue would bring Raila closer to power next time. Because it would offer him a more broader forum where it would have give him some of the areas which are in the Jubilee area. And you see, in global politics, like Italy, Britain, this you call Israel, or even India,
yes.
The party closest to the government is the one which succeeds the government. Because it has the machinery and of the state, it has.
But he's in government. Why should he worry? He's the deputy.
Ruto has something to protect.
Okay.
By wanting Uhuru as far from the government as possible.
As possible.
Because you know, sibling, you know, there's kind of sibling rivalry even of the son at home was very unhappy when he heard the prodigal son has returned. Because he felt that the father is slaughtering a fatted cow to the prodigal son. Yeah. And I think it's high time Uhuru also slaughters a fatted cow because it is not Uhuru we are talking about. We are talking about being the father of the nation.
Yes.
He should slaughter a fatted cow when he hears Raila wants to come back because they were together one time in Kanu. Only that Moi appointed Uhuru to be his project.
Okay.
I remember in the 1990s and so forth, both Uhuru and Odinga were Kanu. Only that Moi gave the younger son, the prodigal son that time, power. And I think Ruto is not willing to see a repeat.
To cede ground.
To see a repeat where Uhuru prepares or paves the way for Raila.
All right. We want to take a short break and we'll continue with this conversation, talk about Sabasaba as well, which you are very part of, and now we are seeing another one coming up and calls for there to be mass action, protests, demonstrations.
The spirit. Yes. Nobody can crush the people of Kenya. Nobody. We are saying that we have made our message clear that no taxation without representation.
That's about that particular moment.
Oh, that was Uhuru. What is the opposite of Uhuru Park? Next to Serena.
Next to Serena.
Yeah, Central Park.
Central.
Okay. That was Central Park.
Yes.
And where we were tear gas and beaten. That followed our Kamukoji demonstration. That was immediately after that. What we were aiming at that time was two things. We had goal, new constitution, pluralism. But we also had that's the goal. The objective was to pressurize KANU, the government at that time, to agree to have the pluralism, to allow to open for multi-party. And also we wanted to pressurize the government to agree to a new constitution, which it was very, very adamant not going to agree. And therefore, that time when I was here, you have all Kenya there. It's not like, because there's no other party. There's no opposition or anything. You have all Kenyans from all walks of life. They come and they support the idea because they are following the idea. They are not following a person. And I think that's what was very, very good at that time, that we have clear objectives. We wanted to transform Kenya into a plural democratic society. And we also want to have a new constitution. And that's very, very clear and simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now objective, to achieve that, we need to remove all our obstacles. And, politicians came and added to my essay, we pluralize, they say, Moi must go. Yes. You can't tell them what to say.
Right.
But when you give people a microphone, they say their thing. Moi must go, meaning that they wanted to